everyone, welcome to School of Scarlett. Today's message is around what the most profound relationship that you could ever have is. So stay tuned to the very end because we're going to dive deep into this one. So as I'm sitting outside, my dogs are running around. So if that's significant to anyone, you may see them run around here in the back. That's my dog Blue and my dog Sarah. Okay, so anyhow, today's message is coming around something that happened to me in my daily life. As y'all know, many times I make videos around intuitive messages that come through, and usually they have to do with something that's happened to me in my daily life. So just to share with you, the other day we have a porch light and we have like a backyard light, and our porch light was out, and it hasn't been out in a long time because it's got a light bulb that lasts years. But anyhow, for some reason the light bulb was out, so we had to change it, and we were just wondering, why was this light bulb out? You know, it just isn't supposed to be out. But anyway, we took it out and we replaced it anyhow. So the message came through. My dog's coming up here. I have my dog Sarah down here. You probably can't see, and she is wet. We have a pond in the back and she is super soaking wet. There she is back there, the black one. Anyhow, so we took the light bulb down, and so all to say that the light bulb really sparked today's message around what we are and how the relationship with really ourselves is the greatest and grandest relationship that we can have. And I know that you probably heard this message before somewhere, but I want to assure you that today's message is a bit deeper than that. So you can imagine yourself as that light bulb, okay? We are that light bulb. We are, you know, our body vehicle, our meat suit, whatever you want to call it, our body is that light bulb. Imagine it that way. And inside that light bulb, there's a little filament, is there not, right? So that filament inside of there, if it gets damaged or if it's not taken care of, or, you know, something happens to it, it won't light up anymore, right? So we can imagine that that filament is our inner self, okay? So you can imagine that that filament is really like connecting with your inner self. So let's imagine the filament as our inner self. Now, in order to have the light bulb light up, it's not like we can just have, you know, the filament and the light bulb itself. By itself, it creates no light. It has to be hooked up to a power source, right? We have to have electricity as it is right now, right? So anyhow, when we screw in that light bulb, it gets plugged into the power source, the electricity. And the electricity, it really is what lights it up. You know, if we don't connect it to that power source, we have no light. It doesn't matter if the filament is in good condition, if the light bulb is in good condition, if it's not hooked up to the power source, we have no light. So this is all to say that there's various parts that we have to be connected to. We have to be connected to our inner self and take care of our filament, the inner part of ourselves, and we have to be connected to a power source. And the power source, in what I see and visualize, is that the power source is essentially our self-love, how we love ourselves, how we take care of ourselves. And you've probably heard this many times, that we can't love or be loved by others until we love ourselves. So what do y'all think about that comment? Many times I've heard that in the past, and I thought that makes like no sense to me. It really didn't make a lot of sense to me. And now the way that I see it, it makes perfect sense, because if we're not loving ourselves, we can't even light up. We can't even light ourselves up enough to love someone else fully, or to even be loved. We're just actually dull. So we have to be connected to our self-love, and we have to be taking care of our inner self. And if we're not doing these two things, we have no light. And so many times we think, okay, well, if we just get into a relationship, someone will love us enough that they'll spark us up, that they'll light us up. Well, you would think it would happen that way. And, you know, many of us have been programmed through movies and many different things to think that that's what happens. But that's not really what happens. You see, when you align with someone else, or you know, go and date someone else, marry someone else, you know, just hang out with someone else, whatever it is, they're actually not lighting you up. You can't be lit up by another being. It's just like putting two light bulbs together. You know, they could be two light bulbs. They're not plugged into any power source. They're just two light bulbs, and we put them closer together, and we put them closer together. Nothing's going to happen. It does nothing for it. Now, let's say that one light bulb is lit up. It is on the power source and it's lit up, right? And we put the non-lit light bulb near it. It's going to probably shine on it, give it a little bit of illumination, but essentially that light bulb is not lit up. It's not lit up by the other light bulb. So you can allow someone to come into your life and maybe date them, marry them, whatever, and you can be near them, and somehow it feels like they're lighting you up. It feels like there's a little bit of light there, but essentially you haven't really lit yourself up till you've connected with your inner self and your self-love. So today you're being called to go inward, to connect with your inner self, to take care of yourself, to see what it is that you need nurturing with. If there's anything within you that's calling for you right now, that you need more attention in something, see it as almost like your inner child. What does your inner child need from you right now? Connect with your inner self, connect with your intuition, connect with your heart. Align with what all is, the God source within you, the spirit within you. Align with that. And then as you align with that, you'll be able to give yourself that self-love. It's all one, but they seem separate, right? So once we align with that part of ourselves, we see the grand, power within that, and it's not a narcissistic power. It's not a power to do anything with. It's a power that you already hold within. It's already yours. So when you align with that, suddenly you're in love with yourself, and you're able to give yourself the self-love that's going to illuminate you. And when you illuminate, you're going to have that light. You're going to shine brightly in this world. So this video really is about the most profound relationship that you can ever have. And what do I think that is? The most profound relationship that you can ever have is a relationship with yourself, a relationship with your inner self, with your whole self. Okay, the parts of you that, are within, the parts of you that are around, the whole light bulb. You can see it that way. So I want to challenge you today to really begin to connect with yourself as if you're having a relationship with yourself. I see a lot of times that people feel very uncomfortable being alone. So they get into relationships, or they're always wanting to surround themselves with friends or people, or go to crowded areas, or maybe they're at home and maybe this is speaking to someone. They can't stand to be with their own thoughts, so they'll turn on the TV and always have like noise blaring, or they'll put on music, and yes, it's uplifting, but when are you alone with yourself? When are you nurturing yourself? When are you connecting with yourself? That's the question. So when you connect with yourself, you connect with your most authentic self. When we are around other people, let's say it's even our spouse, say it's even our family, people that are very close to us, know us very well. It's like our energy is divided. We have to kind of, in a certain way, separate ourselves to be with them, in a way that our inner consciousness, our energy is actually resonating in a way that it's having to be cautious of how that other person is emotionally, physically, what's going on with them. We have to at all times kind of be aware, not just of ourselves, of how we're feeling, but we're kind of aware about how they're feeling, right? We're always aware of how others are feeling when we're near them. And so that takes away from the energy that you could be giving to yourself. So I challenge you today to find time to be alone, to find solitude, to be alone in a way that you can listen to your own thoughts, even if it sounds scary. If it sounds scary, do it even more, because there's something there that you are resisting. And whatever we resist persists. And whatever we're resisting, there's something there that wants to be cleared, that wants to speak to us, that wants to show us something greater. But the ego, the mind, is scared of that because it's gotten comfortable in a lot of different things, a lot of different protector parts of ourselves that it uses. But there's nothing to be afraid of. Your greatest gift is already here within you. And if we can silence the mind, if we can even do something like meditation or being outside in nature by ourselves, to be able to contemplate, to be able to have our own mind and not have to have the interference of others and their emotions and their preferences and their needs and wants, then we can be 100% with ourselves. And that is a great, great energy to be in. That's the highest energy that you can be in. It's your most authentic self. So some of us have connected to being alone, to feeling comfortable in our own, skin and being alone and not having other people around us. And those that have gotten connected to that, we've kind of gotten addicted to that. I know I can tell you that being alone feels a lot better sometimes than being around people. Why? Because we're totally in a creative flow. Our mind is working at 100%. We're not having to divide that energy by thinking about what is that person's preference? What does this other person need? What am I going to say? How are they perceiving me? Because no matter how much you think you have control of your mind is always dividing itself up when there's others around. So your most profound relationship that you could ever have is a relationship with yourself. And it's not saying to become a monk, to be alone, to never go out in society, because your most profound relationship is with yourself. It's just a call to spend some time with yourself, to find the time to spend time alone with yourself. You know, when we're dating someone or when we're wanting to start a relationship or be in a relationship with someone, we dedicate time to them. Time is a gift to people. When we spend time with our partners, our children, you know, those people that we love, we're essentially giving them a gift and giving us a gift as well. But you see, when are we giving ourselves the gift of being in alone time and being with ourselves, being in a relationship with who we are? Because within you, you have a gift. Within you, you have a creative wellspring that wants to flow, that wants to play just with you. So it's time to connect with yourself and have that relationship with yourself. And if you find yourself today in a space where you're no longer resonating with certain relationships, you're wanting to go deeper and deeper and deeper, and maybe there's people around you that don't want to go there, or there's relationships that are falling away, and that happens a lot of times when we're awakening to our consciousness, to more of our awareness. You know, these relationships kind of fall away, or they show themselves to be seen as very surface level, or they can't move on with you to the next level that you're moving to. And this can be painful. But as you let go of those relationships, if that is what is arising for you, allow yourself more time to connect with your own self. Have some time with yourself as if you're dating someone, rather than jumping into another relationship like so many of us want to do. Because if we're used to being around people all the time, it doesn't feel good to be alone at first. But after you spend some time with yourself alone and you get over that hurdle of, you know, how scary it could be to be alone, you're going to realize it's going to be your greatest gift to be alone. You're going to have the maximum creative flow flowing through you. You're going to not have any resistance from others. You're not going to have any separation of your emotions, your thoughts, and all of this because others are around. So you'll begin to have that relationship with yourself. You'll begin to know yourself deeper. You'll begin to experience what's within your heart. Many of you have emailed me and said, you know, I'm not feeling like I can connect to my intuition, or I'm not listening to my intuition. And a lot of times that's because we're listening to others. You know, others will always have an opinion. Others will always chime in on anything that you want to do, or, you know, you say, do, or whatever. So when you have time alone, you don't have anybody chiming in. You're 100% able to go without resistance towards those things that are within your heart. So if you have the, you know, the desire or passion within you, let's say to write a book or write a song, or start this new project or hobby, you know, maybe if you're around other people and you share this with them, you begin to feel self-conscious. You begin to hear their opinions. They may even flat out tell you that's not a good idea, or I wouldn't do it that way. And we begin to internalize it, and it begins to fragment us and kind of stagnate us in our energy. Whereas when we're alone, we can think up the things that we want to do. Our creative flow begins to flow, and suddenly we feel, oh, we want to write this book, we want to write this song. And there's no resistance from others. So what happens is you flow into creating, and you just begin to create. So I encourage you today to really cultivate and nourish the relationship you have with yourself. Spend time alone. Find a way to do that. And if you have to take a vacation with yourself, do that as well. You know, maybe it's not possible for you to be alone. Maybe you live in a place where your family lives with you, or there's always people, and maybe you want to have some time alone. Go find yourself a cabin to rent, you know, on Airbnb, or, you know, anywhere you can. Go camping. Go somewhere where you can get away and you can begin to connect with yourself deeper and deeper. So I hope that this message found you well. If it resonated, please give me a thumbs up, comment down below, leave me a heart. It really helps my channel to grow, and share this message with others. So I hope that this message is a good one for you. I know for me, this has been one of the greatest things I have ever done, is connecting with myself. When I had the expansion of consciousness that I would say happened, you know, I call it like a non-dual awakening, but When I had that, I was completely alone. And it wasn't that I was in a happy state of being. You know, I was very much in a depressed state of being. But being alone, I had to face my own self. I had to face those things that were going on within me. And it began to clear, and more flow began to happen with me. And that awareness came in. So whatever state you find yourself in today, whether you feel depressed, whether you feel joyful, whether you feel anxious, whether, you know, you feel scared even, go there with yourself. You cannot go wrong by going within and connecting to that filament, and from that filament connecting with that self-love, and pretty soon you're going to illuminate into the beautiful light that you are. So thank you so much again for watching. I will catch you on our next video, and I love you all.